Welcome back to the final K. We are live for the Flèche Wallonne, so we are, and we've also got the Tour of the Alps on as well. There's 15 kilometers left, or 14 kilometers left in stage two. Is it of the Tour of the Alps? Stage three potentially. Yeah, stage three. But we've got the Flèche Wallonne. There are 78 kilometers to go, and they're about to do the Mur de Huy for the first time. So I'm going to keep an eye more so on the Tour of the Alps at the moment, just because it is nearly over. But there is a breakaway up the road in the Flèche Wallonne. It is 1 minute and 41 seconds up the road. It has got backs from Q36.5. It's got Andreas Leknesson of Uno X, Van der Lee of AF Education, Yosemite from Total Energies, or Otruba from Caja Real, and Van Hemelen from Team Flanders. So that is the breakaway up the road at the moment. There's also a breakaway in the Tour of the Alps, 15 seconds up the road. It is Darren Rafferty and Uman, so it is the two riders up the road. But let me get a wee poll going here on. And we'll get talking more about the Flèche one in a wee bit. I'm going to get a poll up now, but I want to focus just on the Tour of the Alps at the moment, as they are descending down the well, it wasn't a categorized climb or anything. It was a climb, but they're descending down it now towards the final 5 kilometers, which seem to be flat. Pardon me. Oh, and then who else will I add? I will add. Good morning, Steve. Good morning. Hello, Bobby. All good. All good as well. To Steve, sorry that day. Well, are you both all good? That's what I mean. I'm just trying to focus on this. Is that right? Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Hello, Kat. Good. That's good, Steve. So, and that's good, Bobby, as well. As I was saying, there's 11.7 kilometers in stage three at Tour of the Alps. There's 76.1 kilometers left in the Flèche Wallonne. So I'm just chopping and changing between the pair of them, but I'm more focusing on the Tour of the Alps. Nordhagen, a late addition to the team because of Jorgensen's departure, but it seems to be all on Nordhagen's shoulders, and Tullett as well. He didn't ride the Amstel Gold Race, so he was. I think they said he wasn't on form or something like that. But I've also seen someone else say he wasn't well. So hopefully he is able to give something good today. So we're just about to hit the Mur de Huy for the first time. Well, the breakaway has hit the Mur de Huy. And if you don't know who's in the break, it is Bax of Q36, Leknesson of Uno X, Van der Lee of AF Education, Yosemite from Total Energies, or Otruba from Caja Real, and Van Hemelen from Team Flanders. Your Ardennes, yeah, the Visma's Ardennes are pretty cooked, to be fair. They don't really have the fact they've had to pull Nordhagen into this to try and pull a result off is a bit bad for Visma. Good for Nordhagen because he gets to ride the Flèche Wallonne again. But the breakaway has just hit the narrow section off the Mur de Huy. They're about to do the first turn onto the steepest bit. The peloton are 1 minute and 35 down. So they are. 16 days until the Giro. I know, I'm buzzing for the Giro. I can't wait. I know the GC is sort of decided before it has already started with Vingegaard riding it, but I'm still excited nonetheless. It is a Grand Tour, 3 weeks of action, and I love the pink jersey, so do. So our Ardennes have never been good, apart from that few times. Well, to be fair, the only the only positive I can think of that, or about Joe Ardennes and Nordhagen riding it, is he rode it last year, and obviously he wasn't riding to win it or anything, and he got 25th last year, and he's riding it now, and as far as I'm aware, he seems to be Visma's main guy for this. So you could potentially be looking at a top 10 if he is in. He obviously rode the Gran Camino, or is that what you call it, the Gran Camino? I think that's what you call it. But he rode that and he did well in it. So maybe the form that carries over to here, and he is the leader for the leader for Visma. He could pull something off. It ain't won until it's won. Yeah, no, like, very true. Lacknesson at the front of the breakaway. They're on the steepest, like that with, the bend on the Murdowy. They're on that now. 480 metres to the top of it. But Lacknesson is leading them up it. Pardon me. So, 8.4 kilometres left in the Tour of the Alps. The breakaway is still up the road in the Tour of the Alps. They're only up by 11 seconds, but the breakaway is two riders, Darren Rafferty, Darren Rafferty of AF Education, 22-year-old Irish lad, so hopefully he's able to stay and get the win. But then Sam Oomen of Little Trek is the other rider in the breakaway. They are 10 seconds up the road, so they should be caught, but the pole is a lot closer than I expected. Well, never mind. Paul Sexas, I was just taking the lead in it, but it was 33% between Paul Sexas, Skelmoza, and other. Yeah, you're right. Anything can happen. It's just when you look at it for face value before, if everything goes as planned, and then you look at it like Vingegaard's winning, but I mean anything can happen. But I always like the battle for second when there is someone who is as dominant as Pogačar, Vingegaard, Van der Poel, etc. I always like the battle for second. Oh, there's Pidcock here is attacking in the peloton of the Tour of the Alps down the descent. That is very good to see, because he did say there on stage 1 of the Tour of the Alps it's his worst day ever on the bike, but he is attacking here on the descent with 6.9 kilometers to go, so that is very good to see for his road to recovery and potential road to good form for Liège-Bastogne-Liège on Sunday. He finished 6 minutes down on stage 2 as well. So, but the peloton now are on the Mur de on the Flèche Wallonne. Front of the peloton isn't really any. There's two Red Bull riders, but they aren't really working together. They're sort of just trying to get up the Mur de. There's two UAE riders. One of them is Tim Wellens. Good to see him at the front. Cosnefroid's there, and amongst them, so is Ivan Romeo. But there's no real team pushing here on the Mur de. There was a few teams before it. I think there was Visma, UAE, Red Bull, Bahrain, and Decathlon, I remember seeing. So, but on the Mur de, it's every man for themselves at the moment. But the peloton are just about to cross the finish line. They have to do the Mur de now 2 more times. 1 more time neutral, and then the final time is obviously the battle for the finish. But 5.7k to go now in the Tour of the Alps. You know who I want to see win a Grand Tour? Jay Vine. I mean, that would be a very big win for him, and I don't disagree with you. Put it that way. He did break his wrist though in the Tour Down Under, which was unfortunate to see. And then he came back. Was it the Catalunya? Let me check. Was it in the Catalunya? He crashed in that, whatever it was. Yeah, the Catalunya, and he had to abandon in stage 3. So hopefully he is in. He's no races now until the Giro. So hopefully he's in good shape. I think UAE are in a lot of trouble for the Giro. I think they have a lot of good riders or good names down to ride it, but none of the riders are in. I suppose Adam Yates would probably be in the best form out of the lot. Broken wrist and still won the Tour Down Under. Yeah, it's true. Right, I'm going to swap my main screen here over to the Tour of the Alps because there's 4.6k to go and I want to see, because I have a feeling it's going to be a bunch sprint, so I just want to get a closer look at it because Pidcock does look So there's a breakaway caught. Darren Rafferty and Sam Oomen have been caught now in the breakaway with, 3 seconds still up the road, but they're about to get caught. There's 72.5 kilometres left in the Flèche Wallonne and the breakaway is 1:13 up the road. But the focus at the moment is the Tour of the Alps Stage 3 with 4 kilometres to go. Tom Pidcock is the one I'm mostly looking out for. Now don't forget Tommaso Datti won the first stage, beating Tom Pidcock in the sprint. The attack with Narvaez was awesome. Yeah, it was Adam Yates set it off and Jay Vine was in the wheel and they completely just blew the peloton to pieces. And Narvaez was like sort of, I don't think he was really a part of the plan. I think he was given more of a free rule and if he could stay on, he could, but he was struggling to stay on. But it was Adam Yates and Jay Vine and they just completely ripped it apart. $3.2k to go. Attack out the front here from Ben O'Connor. Ben O'Connor's trying to attack out the front of the peloton here with 3 kilometres to go. That's the first time I've seen him on camera on the TV camera in quite some time. Probably I'm trying to think when, because he hasn't had the best start to his season, put it that way. I think I've seen him in the Tour Down Under at some point. $2.5k to go. I think someone dropped out of the breakaway in Egan Bernal is now attacking on the left-hand side of the road. That is good to see. Love a bit of Egan Bernal. Yeah, Van Hemelen talk about the Flèche Wallonne. Van Hemelen of Team Flanders, he has dropped out of the breakaway now, so it's down to 5 in the Flèche Wallonne, but we've got 3 riders up the road in the Tour of the Alps with a small gap, but they've been brought back in. There was 2 Tudor riders and Egan Bernal, 1.9 kilometres to go. I like a sprint like this when there's no sprinter in it and it is majority climbers, but I do have a feeling Pidcock should take this. He's sat about 4th wheel, 2nd wheel on a teammate. But Tudor are leading the peloton into the final 1.5 kilometres. They have 2 riders at the front and then there's 2 Q36 riders with the 4th rider in that line being Pidcock. Another teammate joins Pidcock and another Tudor rider joins the 2 at the front. But La Flèche Wallonne here is all over the place. What has happened here? Attack's trying to string off the road and the peloton, or the front of the peloton is all over the road. Right. About to hit the final 1 kilometre here for stage 3 of 2. Yep, 1 kilometre to go in stage 3 of Tour of the Alps. Tom Pidcock is in a very good position, so I hopefully would like this. Well, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I hope he wins this race, just to give him that boost of confidence. He did look very good on the descent down from the final climb, so hopefully he has enough in the legs and his knee doesn't give him too much bother here on the final sprint. But Tudor are leading the peloton with 2 riders. Pidcock sat in 4th wheel. Attack on the right hand side from Jaco. No. Pidcock in a far better position now. He's currently sat 3rd wheel on the wheel of a Tudor rider. Egan Bernal looks like he's going for the sprint. He is sat in 2nd wheel. Pidcock now launches on the left hand side of the road. Egan Bernal follows onto his wheel, but Pidcock is going clear at the front. He sits up. It seems like they're going around the corner. Egan Bernal is sat in 2nd. I'd love to see Egan Bernal win this. But around the corner, Pidcock gets out of the saddle. Egan Bernal sat in 2nd. A rider from Lotto Intermarché. Is that Lotto Intermarché? Or is that Tommaso Datti? Who is that? But Pidcock here with... Pidcock looks like he's going to get it. Pidcock gets it. Very good. Egan Bernal in third. I don't know who that was in second there. Or Lotto Intermarché riding this. No, I think it was Tommaso Datti of Team Ukyu. I thought, for some reason, I thought Ukyu's jersey was white. Yeah, I think it was Tommaso Datti. So the rules have reversed here for stage 3. Yeah, very good. Very good for Pidcock. I'm very impressed there with Egan Bernal getting third. But let me swap back over. I will obviously look for the top 10 of that race. But we are now back to La Flèche Wallonne, where I should possibly change this 80 kilometers to 70, because I think that's how many is left. Yep, 68.8 kilometers to go in La Flèche Wallonne. Oh, I could finally get rid of one of my earpieces. Right, where was I? Didn't Jay say last year that Australia is the most dangerous place? The Kangaroos didn't like that comment, so they took him out of the third head under this year. Yeah, Simon's going to be a big miss to Visma, especially because it was such an unexpected retirement as well. But if Adam Yates went on to win this year's Giro d'Italia, I think that would be some achievement for back-to-back Yates back-to-back Yates winners at the Giro d'Italia. That would be some achievement. Pidcock's brother. Right. Right. So they've actually got the top 10 already. That's unusual. So the top 10 of stage 3 Tour of the Alps: Tom Pidcock first, Tommaso Datti in second, Egan Bernal gets third, Luca Paletti from Bardiani gets fourth, Alexander Vlasov of Red Bull in fifth, Sean Quinn of EF Education in sixth, Chris Hamilton of Picnic Post in seventh, Jakob Omerzel from Bahrain in eighth, Florian Stork from Tudor in ninth, and Ben O'Connor in 10th. So pretty solid top 10 there. But Tom Pidcock picks up his first win since his injury and since the Milano Torino, I think. Is that the first win? Yeah, since the Milano Torino. So it's his third win of the year. Stage in the Vuelta Andalusia, and then he won the Milano Torino. And now he's won stage 3 at Tour of the Alps. So with that, I have a feeling he could go on to win a couple more here. And that will give him a massive boost of confidence for the Liège-Bastogne-Liège, but it will be a different breed altogether. But as for the Flèche Wallonne, the breakaway still the same 5 riders after Van Hemelen did drop out. So it is Bax of Q36, Leknessem of Uno X, Van der Lee of EF Education, Yoseme of Total Energies, and Otruba from Caja Real. There are 2 riders chasing them down, 56 seconds behind, Patrick Conrad and Real Garcia Pierna of Movistar. They're 55 seconds down according to PCS. I don't know if the TV has it updated. They're showing slow-mos at the moment. But apparently Julien Alaphilippe has also dropped out of the peloton, which is unfortunate. The 3-time winner, 2018-19 and 2021. And obviously he did drop out of Amstel there, and he's dropped out of a lot of races. He dropped out of the Itzulia? It was. He dropped out of... Didn't start stage 6 of the Itzulia, dropped out of the Amstel Gold Race. And he is now dropped out of the peloton in La Flèche Wallonne. Second most wins ever at this race. And it looks like it's going to stay like that for this year as well. UAE now are pacing at the front of the peloton with a Visma rider sat in third wheel. So 2 UAE riders and a Visma rider. Liège-Bastogne, yeah, it is. It's a massive ask for him. A massive ask. I don't think he will. Will he stay? The Liège-Bastogne-Liège usually has like a peloton finishing behind like the first couple riders. I think even finishing in that peloton, it all depends on how he finishes in the Tour of the Alps here and how he's feeling after it. Because straight after the Tour of the Alps, I think the next day is Liège. So, and Liège is it's some race to do well in. So I do think it'll be a bit of a difficult one and a hard ask for him. They're showing the back of the peloton here with Dorian Goudon and Mauro Schmidt both sat at the back. So as the poll is standing, Paul Sexas is currently sat on 56% of the vote, Kevin Vacklin with 12%, Scalmoza with 19%, and Other with 12%. So it is, I'm actually surprised. No, I was going to say I'm surprised Kevin Vacklin doesn't have as many votes as Scalmoza, but after Scalmoza's performance in Amstel Gold, yeah. Well, Kevin Vacklin, he finished second in this year in the past 2 years. And Scalmoza hasn't finished this race in the past 2 years, but 3 years ago, Scalmoza did get second at this race. So if he can finish this race and have the same form as Amstel, I don't see why he couldn't, get a top 5, potentially a podium. There wasn't any room for I don't know at the moment. So there wasn't any room. We will see if there's any breakaways. And we might be able to free up a space for it. I don't know. He has been looking pretty good though this this Ardennes season. Oh. So the gap is 1 minute and 20 seconds with 63.4 kilometers to go. Van der Lee here doing the work at the front of the breakaway. And how long is it now until the next set of the climb? So I'd say we've got about 8 kilometers, maybe a bit less, until the Côte d'Effre, and then after that's the Côte de Charave and then the Mur de Huy. What's the condition? It is dry and it's good weather for once. So the past 2 years it has been chucking it down, and this year it is dry. So we'll finally get to see a dry Mur de Huy for the first time in a couple of years. So hopefully it just means riders will be able to take more risks, in my opinion. With the rain, you couldn't really take the risk. You just wanted to be there for the final climb. I do, for some reason, I just have that feeling that Paul Sexas is going to try and attack at some point and try and go solo. Who is up front? So we've got 5 riders up front. Bax off Q36.5, and then we've got Andreas Leknesson of Uno X, Van der Lee of AF Education, Yossome of, I don't even know if that's how you actually pronounce it, Alan Yossome of Total Energies, and then Jakob Ortruba from Caja Real. They're the 5 riders up the front. Van Hemelen of Team Flanders, he was also in that group, but he dropped off after the first passage of the Mur de Huy. Isn't this the race that Scalmoza suffered from hypothermia that one year? I don't. Good question. I don't actually know. I can't remember. Let me do a quick Google here. Let's do a quick Google. Yeah, it is. It was, yeah. 2024, 2 years ago. Scalmoza hit by hypothermia as only 44 men finish the Flèche Wallonne. So that's how many riders finish the race in 2024. But today the sun is out. I don't know, I haven't seen the sky, so I don't know if it's clear skies, but the sun is out and it is dry, which is good. Leknesson has a chance. I don't see why not. If the peloton did go the full way, he was on the first passage of the Murderwee, he was the one at the front of the breakaway leading them up it. So if the breakaway did make it the full way, I would probably put my money on Leknessund to do that. But I don't see it making it the full way, especially with, well, nah, I was going to say especially with Tobias Hall Johannesson in there for them. But obviously if it goes away, they would want to keep it that way because of Leknessund probably being the strongest in that group. Vanderlei as well is pretty good. But I think with Paul Sexas and Decathlon, as well as Ineos, they're not going to let this breakaway get away at all. I think it was up to about 2 minutes and 30 earlier in the day, and it's now down to 1 minute and 27. So I don't see it getting I don't see it getting significantly bigger. I see the gap just progressively getting smaller. So I do. I don't know, that's quite a kick. Never rule them out. Right, so we've got 59.4k to go, so we're into the final 60k. This race is actually going pretty quicker. This race is going quicker than I expected. I wasn't expecting a lot of... I was debating whether to go... The plan was go live from 100k out, and then I thought, no, I'll do 80k, and then I was predicting 80k maybe is a bit too much, just because you don't really see much happen in this race until literally the final 1 kilometre for the Murderwee. So then I was predicting went up with 60 and 40. I was like, no, I'll just do 80 and see what happens. And see what happens with that. They've got doing an interview here with Lenny Martinez, and he's got a queer mustache on him. That is some mustache indeed. Oh. Looks like Sockets is a no-show. Well, it is the middle of the day on a Wednesday, so I wasn't expecting a lot of people to show up for this one, just because, like I said, middle of the day, middle of the week, and it is Wednesday. Sexas will attack on the Murderwee from about out and drop everyone like Pogacar did. That is my prediction, and that is a very solid prediction as well. I don't disagree with it. I just hope if he does attack, people are able to stay with him, because it isn't that long of a climb, only 1.4 kilometers, but it is very steep. I didn't even tell you my prediction. My prediction for the race was Lenny Martinez off Bahrain victorious, and my reasoning for that was because he came to this race last year and he got 4th, and it was his first time ever riding the Flèche Wallonne. So he picked up 4th for his first time, and then if you compare his season, this season to last season, the scheduling is actually fairly similar, but this year he's doing a lot better. So I think with the form that he is on at the moment, he could potentially finish a lot higher in the Flèche Wallonne. That's why I'm predicting him to win it. Seeing he got 4th with, I'd say probably half the form of last year. Nordhagen win, trust. It would be very good to see Nordhagen do well, just because he has been. It was a last minute call to add him to this race. Not sure Paul's going to wait that. Yeah, I agree with that as well. I just have a feeling that he is going to attack or attempt to attack from far out, maybe the Côte de Chirav, but that's in the final 10 kilometers. You could maybe see him attack on that. But I just have a feeling he'll be thinking of it, put it that way, and he knows he could probably do it. But I would love to see. I just would like to see a bunch hitting the Murderwee. I would like to see that. Adam Yates is on my hot. Right, because Jürgen Nordhagen got second, but didn't let Nordhagen get the win. Very good. So front of the peloton here, we've got UAE at the front. The only one I recognise is Tim Wellens because of that Belgian jersey, but is that, let me check if he is riding it. Is that who I think it is? No, it's not. I don't know who that is. Is that Vergaard Lagan? Maybe? Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. I'll just call him Vergaard. Bobby, you've upset a few people with that comment. So they're on the Côte d'If right now for the second last time. UAE are doing the work at the front. There's 3 riders from UAE. There's a 4th one, a couple of riders back, but the other riders at the front, there's a rider from Q36, Alpecin, Little Trek, Uno X, 2 riders from Uno X, but the main team at the front at the moment is UAE. Obviously working for Benoit Cosnefroy. There's a rider from UAE dropping out the back. Is he dropping out the back or is he just struggling to hang on? Harragots. I think his work is done for the day. Forgot to say, my hot take for this race was I did do a hot take, and the hot take was that the top 5 riders at this race are all going to come from France, just because it is literally like the French national championships, this race, with the amount of favourites for it that all come from France. So we've got Kevin Vauquelin. I did say Julian Alaphilippe, but he's unfortunately dropped out the back. So Kevin Vauquelin, Benoit Cosnefroy, Romain Gregoire, Paul Sexas, Lenny Martinez. Who else was there? There was Alex Baudin, Clement Chapousson. There's 7. Valentin Paripintre. There's 8. Anyone else? Clement Ventunuri. There's 9 if you want to add him into it. So there is a lot of good French riders at this race that could pull off a top 5. So that was my hot take, that the top 5 would consist of 5 French riders. The 5 French riders that I went with in the end, I think I went with, because Lenny Martinez to win. I didn't order the from 2nd to 5th, so but I just gave 4 names. So I went for Lenny Martinez to win, Paul Sexas, I need to look. I've completely forgot. Paul Sexas, Kevin Vauquelin, Alex Baudin, and then there was another one. I can't remember the name though. Why can't I remember his name? It's going to be someone so obvious as well. Alex Baudin, Lenny Martinez, Paul Sexas, Kevin Vauquelin. Who was the 5th rider? Cosnefroy, that's who it was. So that was my top 5. Obviously Romain Gregoire, he could end up in it, but I'd say the only 2, the main favourites that aren't from France, I would say, are Jai Hindley's racing this. I didn't clock that now. So Jai Hindley's racing it for Red Bull. He could maybe be there, but Scalmoza obviously, and then Peo Bilbao as well if he has a good day. Maro Schmidt from Switzerland, Tobias Hallen Johannesson obviously from Norway, and then you've got Aaron Baru and Ian Izagiri of Cofidis. Utebrooks from Movistar, that would be interesting. So it would obviously Nordhagen from Visma if he's able to get there in the end. Van Etfeldt, I don't know about Van Etfeldt. He hasn't had the, he rode the UAE tour, but he didn't finish the Tour Down Under. He didn't finish his Strade Bianche, and then he dropped out of the Tirreno there as well. So I think he's struggling to find form. But yeah, a lot of good French riders, as well as other good riders from other countries. But that was my top 5 prediction. So it is. Not showing the back of the peloton now with Noah Isidori from Decathlon struggling to hang on. Maybe his job is done for the day, but still UAE are at the front with 4 riders. We've got Astana now. I forgot to mention Christian Scaroni as well. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, Christian Scaroni of Astana. He could 100% be in the run for this race. Hindley is a class. Yeah, he is. I think it was I seen an article on it, but then I think someone else told me in the chat on one of my other streams that Hindley is linked with Visma. So he is, just because of the loss of Simon Yates. So do you reckon that is? Do you reckon Hindley going to Yates is a good replacement? Wait, did I say that right? Do you think Hindley going to Visma is a good replacement for Yates? I think it's a pretty solid replacement. I think it is big shoes to fill. I don't think it is quite up to the standard of Simon Yates, but it is a very solid replacement. All right, Johnny, all good. Happily have him there. I think you'll take anyone at Visma at this point. Oh, pardon me. I'm on an ad break now. Hello, Shelley. 100% agree with that take. And he has always been a writer I enjoy watching. I don't disagree with that. He's a very good writer too, and a very good teammate as well. Very good domestique there in the past couple of years. Yes, Shelley, all good. I'm all good, so I am, thanks. Said there, Andreas Lacknesson won the KOM sprint for the Côte d'Ifrey. I remember them actually saying that there was a KOM at this race, which is obviously a bit bizarre, but I mean, why not? Someone else to have on the podium. They're about to hit the descent now down towards the Côte de Chirave for the second last time, but I think it's not gonna kick off now for another. I'd say after the second passage of the Murderway, and then before they go down to the next Côte d'Ifrey, it'll start to kick up. Oh. Oui. So the poll at the moment is 59% for Sexas, so it is a massive, it's like a landslide for Sexas at the moment, with Vauquelin 11%. So Vauquelin has dropped below others now as well. Scalmoza is now equal with others. I think the Paul Sexas is obviously landslide for favourite, but I don't think anyone can agree on who they think is going to come second. It would actually be very interesting to see if Paul Sexas wasn't riding this, who everyone would think is going to win it. Others now hit 18%. So that's what the poll is looking like at the moment. I'm on an ad break here, so I have no idea what's going on. PCS have just said Husing from Team Visma Lisa Bike has a mechanical issue. Who else had a mechanical issue? There was Cosnefroy had a mechanical issue. I think Valentin Paripantry also had one, because when Cosnefroy got back on his bike, he was in a group with Valentin Paripantry, so don't know if there was a mechanical for him there. I'm going to assume that there could have been. But who else? There was someone else. I can't remember. But anyway, we're back on the live coverage now. 50.7 kilometers to go. The kilometers actually, they're dropping fairly quickly. Like I said earlier, the gap is now 1 minute and 20 to the 5 riders up the road. Teams are starting to form at the front. So on the left-hand side of the road, we're looking at a bird's eye view down. We've got UAE with 4 riders. Then Little Trek are trying to squeeze up between UAE and Uno X. So I think Little have 2 riders. Uno X have 4. Astana are in the middle with 2. Cofidis are also at the front beside Astana in the middle with 2 riders. And then on the right-hand side of the road is 3 Red Bull riders. So teams are starting to form here on the descent down to the Côte de Chirave. Who is that? It's just showing the back of the peloton again. A rider from Uno X struggling to hang on. Who is it? Alexander Camp. Also, if you are just joining, Tom Pidcock won stage 3 off Tour of the Alps. So he did. And he looked very good in doing so. He looked a lot more comfortable than he did, or than he said he did on stage 1, where he said it was his worst day ever on the bike. But he ends up getting first. Where's the top 10? I had it somewhere. Tommaso Datti, he got second, so he did, and Egan Bernal picks up a third place as well. So that was the top 3. But yeah, Pidcock looked very well. He was trying to attack on the descent down towards the finish. So he was. Pardon me. Didn't Pidcock say? Yeah, he did. He did say the stage 1 was awful. So he was either bluffing, or he has found that extra bit of form for the stage 3. Leknesson here at the camera's on the breakaway, sorry, but Leknesson here at the front with backs of Q36 in second wheel, Van der Lee of AF Education sat in third wheel, or why can't I never pronounce that right? Otruba of Cahreal in fourth wheel, and Alan Yosami of Total Energies in fifth wheel. They're showing the speeds now, so that the breakaway is doing about 61 kilometers an hour, and the peloton is sitting between 50 and 55 kilometers an hour. So breakaway is still going quicker, and they're currently 1.2 kilometers behind the breakaway. .4 kilometers to go. They've got how long until the next one? Say just under 5 kilometers until the Côte de Chirave. But like I said earlier, I'm not expecting a lot to happen from now until, I'd say from now until the next 30. There's no way that's what 50. I'd say I wouldn't expect a lot to happen from now in the next 20 kilometers. So still the same teams at the front, but Bahrain have now joined the mix. I think Astana have added another rider to the front, as well as Little Trek, but the teams are starting to form up here. I wonder why they are. I wonder why they're trying to get in good position here before the second passing of the Côte de Chirave. I wonder if the position at the moment is the main objective for the peloton here. 1:17 down on the breakaway. Wow. I actually heard the commentators speaking. They were talking earlier. They were talking. I can't remember. There must have been like 120 kilometers to go, and they didn't really know. I think they ran out of things to say, and I have as well. So I'm just bringing this up as a topic of discussion. They were talking about cycling as a whole, like the races in cycling being too saturated at the moment, and that there's too many World Tour races, pro races, and all of that, and all the teams that do go get spread, or all the teams throughout the season get spread too thin, and you don't get all the big riders at some of the races, which I do actually quite agree with, because when you do look at the Tour de Romandie, 4 teams are not riding it this year, which is Alpecin, Uno X, Lotto Intermarché, and Decathlon. So they've completely pulled out of the race altogether. So, yeah, I just wanted to it does seem a bit saturated. They were comparing it to F1, and F1 has like, I don't know how many races F1 has, but they have like a race every week, and there's like 24 races or something like that, and they build up to each race. And they said if you want to monetize cycling properly, you need to reduce the amount of races per year and make sure all the big riders are riding the races, and it'll make a lot better. I don't know if I would reduce it down to 24 races for the whole season, but I would definitely look at getting rid of a few, I guess. Tour de France Femmes is starting in the. I did, yes, I did. I seen the. Is it the first two stages? There's a team time trial anyway. I seen that. It's the first team time trial. It's either the first team time trial in a Grand Tour for the female racing, or it's the first team time trial in the Tour de France. I can't remember what way round it is, but I will have a. Sorry, I don't know why I thought it was this year. It's next year. Just popped into my head there. As your stage 3 is the team time trial in London, and then the first two stages I seen the profiles for those. So I did. Stage 1, 85 kilometers, where stage 2. Where's the profile for stage 2? Ugh. They're on the Côte de Chirav now, sorry. There's no way this is froze. Can't get the profile for stage 2 for the female race. But I do remember seeing it somewhere. I needed to refresh my memory there. You rode the Mur de Huy. What leg breaker? I'm sure it was. Truba now off Caja looks to be struggling to hang on at the back here. The breakaway, they're on the Côte de Chirav now. Nico Denz off Red Bull looks to be having a bit of a mechanical issue. He's at the back of the peloton here. But on the Côte de Chirav, all of the positioning for the teams has sort of just went out of the window. UAE are still occupying the right hand side of the road, but Leknissen and Van der Lee in the breakaway seem to be trying to storm off here on the rest of them. Alan Yosume is in the middle, so we've got two up the front with Leknissen and Van der Lee. Yosume, who is now onto the back of Van der Lee, but the two struggling at the back are backs of Q36 and Otruba off Caja. Peloton is now 50 seconds down on the breakaway, so they are closing the gap here. Breakaway has 250 metres till they hit the top off the Côte de Chirav. Otruba now makes it back onto the front of the breakaway with Leknissen. It is still backs with about a couple of bike lengths here, but he should make it back on. Never mind, Leknissen gets out of the saddle here. Is he going for the... I think... Is this a KOM? I don't actually know. But Leknissen takes it anyway if it is a KOM. I don't know what you get. What does it tell you what you get if the... Don't think it's going to say, does it? No, it's not. It is not. Tim Wellens now at the front of the peloton for UAE, putting his shift in. But it is good to see Tim Wellens back at the front of the peloton, even if it is just as a domestique working. But UAE seem to have full confidence here in Cosnefroid after his two very impressive results at the Brabantse and the Amstel Gold Race. Obviously, he won the sprint in the Amstel Gold Race for third place. There's another rider from Red Bull dropping out the back. Another mechanical. Itaberea is the X silent, but that is the other. So there's Red Bull losing two riders to mechanicals there. One at the bottom, or just in the middle of the Sharav, and then one right at the top. So Jai Hindley seems to be losing a couple of... Is it going to be Jai Hindley? Is it going to be Finn Fisher-Black? They've actually got... Red Bull have actually got a decent team. So we've got Jai Hindley, Finn Fisher-Black, Daniel Felipe Martinez. So any three of them riders could pull something off here at this race. Oh, crash. Oh, crash. Two riders down, Red Bull and Tobias Hallen Johannesson. Oh, no. Tobias Hallen Johannesson has hit the deck. No! There's another rider. Who is it? 4. Finn Fisher-Black and Tobias Hallen Johannesson. Johannesson looks okay. He couldn't get back on the bike because of a mechanical, but his teammate had to pull up the side of the road, give him a bike. He's back on it, and he's going to try his best to get back into the peloton. I'm going to expect a lot of Uno X riders here to drop off the back of the peloton. But that is unfortunate to see there. There's another rider down from Groupama. A lot of crashes here on the descent of the Sharav. Finn Fisher-Black didn't look too good. He didn't get up or anything. He was still leaning over on his hands and knees. I think Finn Fisher-Black hit the lamppost. Because his bike is on the left-hand side of the lamppost, and Finn Fisher-Black is a good distance down from it. But all eyes now are on Tobias Hallen Johannesson as he's going to try and get back onto the peloton here. I'm gutted for him. 40k to go now. Looking good all season, and now the energy that hopefully he doesn't use too much energy trying to get back on, and he still has some for the final of the day. But I think that is first position for him potentially off the cards with the riders that are racing this year. I wonder who that Groupama rider was. Oh no, they of course it is. Of course it's someone I can't. Kevin, he's from Luxembourg and he rides for Groupama. That's the rider that went down. So it is. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his second name. Kevin G. Kevin G from Luxembourg. That is who crashed for Groupama. But the breakaway are about to hit the Mur de Huy here for the second last time. Peloton is 47 seconds behind them. Do they have the time for Tobias Hallen Johannesson yet? No, they don't. Forgot to say, there was in the Tour de Alps there today, there was a massive crash 2 kilometers after the official start, and I think the crash involved like 30 people. So it did, and pardon me. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to give you a few names of the riders that went down. The one I remember is Lorenzo Finn. he crashed and he had to abandon the Tour of the Alps, which is very unfortunate after he did look so good in stage 2. Let me see if I can get the... So a lot of people did withdraw. So Damien Housen of Q36 withdrew. There was Lorenzo Nespoli from MBH Bank. He withdrew. Victor Langalotti from Ineos withdrew. Felix Engelhardt from Jayco withdrew. Daniel Federspiel of Austria, he withdrew as well. So there was a lot of people withdrawn from the race, but it was unfortunate to see Lorenzo Finn go down. Arnsman is doing well. He attacked on the descent on stage 1 and got caught with like four or five. It was a bit less, maybe 300 meters to go, which was unfortunate. But then in yesterday's stage, I didn't get to watch it. I was able to watch. I missed it live, but I was able to watch the final 10 kilometers again, and it was very good. Lorenzo Finn, Vlasov, Egan Bernal, Arnsman, and Pellizzari, obviously, as well as Gafuri off Picnic Post. Every route of the finish in the top 6 was brilliant. PCS say there, Johannesson has made it back into the peloton just before the peloton has hit. They're just on the Mur de Huy now. Jan Tratnik, so there's a flat tyre for Red Bull, are dropping like flies here. The breakaway are on the Mur de Huy. 12% they're currently sitting at, but Van der Lee and Leknissen look to be breaking away from the others. So they are. But they're about to do that famous bend on it just before the finish. 500 meters now. The Van der Lee and Leknissen have broke away from the others, but the peloton are currently on it now. You can see Tobias Allen Johannesson there. He's not 100% back on, but he's just in a small group, about 1 or 2 seconds off the back. So Barry and Victorious with 3 riders at the front. One being Lenny Martinez, because you can tell because of that mustache. But they're the main team at the front. I think that is that Ben Tullett of Visma. He was at the front as well. It looked like him. So the peloton have now just hit that famous bend on the Mur de Huy, and they're now what seems to be on the steepest part of it. 37.4k to go. So they're gonna be hitting the final lap here now. After the Mur de Huy, this is them onto the final lap. Van der Lee and Leknissen, 200 meters to go before they hit the top, but it is Van der Lee looking the stronger of the two. Alaphilippe has abandoned the race, unfortunately, so that's not good for Alaphilippe. Abandoned at Zulia, he's abandoned Amstel Gold, and he's now abandoned the Flèche Wallonne. The bell is ringing as Van der Lee and Leknissen are both about to cross the finish line here, just to let them know that the final lap is now. But look at the crowds here. Bax and Otruba of Cavrial, well, they were coming over it together, but Bax has sort of gapped Otruba. And then Alan Yosemite is in the distance of Otruba there. Peloton now are just about to cross the finish line here. Barry and leading them over the line, but they've just crossed it there now. And we're on to the final lap, so this is us onto the final lap off the Flèche Wallonne. Do you not know what a gonzo is? Have you never watched the Muppets? No. Dude, you're all good. I'm reading it in the corner of my eye, and I've just seen you say I'm going to Google what a gonzo is soon. He's a if you know who Kermit the Frog is, it's Kermit's mate. So it is. And we had an ad break. Of course we do. Of course we do. Well, either with well, Johnny has just said there that he's a trombone player, hence the name. So if Gonzo does mean something else, and I didn't know, but just before we went on the break there, the TV went on the break. I think they were talking about. I don't think Tobias Allen Johannesson is actually on the back of the peloton yet. I think they got him mixed up with his brother, so they did. But Anders Allen Johannesson, he was waiting off the back of the peloton when they did hit the Mur de Huy, so I don't think Tobias Allen Johannesson is back yet, which is still quite unfortunate. I thought he made it back just in time for the Mur de Huy, but it doesn't look it. If you are just joining, I will give a brief recap of what has been happening, and it is not a lot, put it that way. There was 6 riders up the road when TV coverage went live. There was Leknissen of Uno X, Vanderlee of EF Education, Bax of Quickstep, Ortruba of Car Royale. There was Van Hemelen of Team Flanders, and then the final one, who I have just forgotten, was Alan Usami of Total Energy. So they were up the road. They had about, I think the maximum gap they hit was about 3 minutes, but now it's down to about, I think it's down to about 40 seconds now, and there's only 2 up the front now with Leknissen and Vanderlee. Bax and Ortruba are about 20 seconds down. But apart from that, not a lot has happened. There was a few mechanicals during the day. The biggest thing to happen was Finn Fisher Black and Tobias Allen Johannesson hitting the deck there on the descent off the Côte de Chirave about 10 kilometers ago. So that's about all that has really happened. Julian Alaphilippe he abandoned the race. He dropped out of the back of the peloton earlier, and he has now abandoned the race. But all the favourites are still there. So they are. So Paul Sexas, Kevin Vauquelin, Lenny Martinez, Scalmoza, and Tobias Allen Johannesson are the riders that are on my favourites list on the right hand side. But there are still plenty of other favourites. We're now back off the break, and we've got Little Trek now at the front with 6 riders. The rider there bringing Scalmoza to the front, so they did have 4, but who was it? Bakamolama brings Scalmoza right to the front as well, so Little Trek occupy the front of the peloton with 6 riders. But like I was saying about the favourites, all the other favourites that are still in the peloton are Roman Gregoire, Cosnefroy. I don't know if Jai Henney would be a favourite, but Mauro Schmidt is there as well. Aaron Baru and Ian Izagiri are also still there. Scaroni's still there. Nordhagen, Valentin, Barry Pantre. Utebrooks, Peo Bilbao, yeah, pretty much everyone is still there. So they are. But we've got 32.9 kilometers to go. The two riders that did drop from the breakaway are 13 seconds down on Van der Lee and Leknissen, and the peloton is 41 seconds down. It's just the camera here on Tobias Allen Johannesson, who is currently talking on the radio, but he does have his brother in front of him trying to bring him back to the peloton. I'm going to change that to 30k just in case I forget, but it is 32.6 kilometers to go. Ineos have now moved to the front here. Picnic Post have two riders, but Ineos moved to the front with a good selection of riders, but the amount of Little Trek riders here, they have got their entire team. Ineos have three riders. Bahrain are sort of a bit far back, but not a bit far back, a decent bit back, but they do have about three riders. They have moved to the front now with about, it looked like 5 riders there. Camera's now on the two chasing the front two, so that is Otruba and Bax. They're chasing Leknissen and Van der Lee, and you can still see them up the road. 8 seconds is the gap, with Bax leading them out. They seem to be working together, which is good to see. When is the let me actually. Oh, so we've got five people abandoned the race. So we had Lutsenko of NSN, he abandoned. Obviously Alaphilippe, which we knew about. Alexander Kamp of UnoX has also abandoned. Finn Fisher Black, which I assumed he was going to abandon after the state he was in after his climb, and then Herregots of UAE has also abandoned. So they're the 5 riders to abandon this race. I wanted to check the last time a Belgian won this race. Dylan Teuns in 2022 was the last time a Belgian won. What about before that? Philip Gilbert in 2011. So not a lot of Belgian winners at this race in the past 10-15 years. But I don't think there's many Belgians this year that are in contention for winning it. Tim Wellens obviously not going to be one. Utebrooks potentially for Movistar. Quentin Hermans, who got second there at the Brabantse, he could maybe pull something off, because it is quite similar to the Brabantse, but you know, Murderway is a lot steeper. Van Etveld as well, so not a lot of Belgians at this race that could be fighting for the win. I was just catching up in the chat there. I was just reading it. What is that? What's that movie called? What are the actors in it? What do you call them? Give me 1 second to think of this before I can Johannesson get back. I get to be not a mission. What do you call that? What do you call that film? Hold up. That's not what I wanted to say. Sorry, but if you are joining, 29.4 kilometers left. I'm trying to get something up here. Because what do you call them? Because I'm just no, no, it's a recent movie. Because I remember you said you were a strict, what was it, a strict teacher, right? So hold up, if you haven't seen this movie, right, I found the actor in it. I just need to find the movie. Whiplash. Whiplash. I haven't watched it, like, but I have seen clips of it about. And if you say you're a strict teacher, I'm gonna. The fact you said you're a strict teacher now, it's just put me in the frame of mind of the conductor in the Whiplash film, J.K. Simmons. As soon as you said that, that's what I thought of. Yeah, it is Whiplash. Ugh. Pretty much, I haven't seen it, but I have seen clips, and it's just pretty much him shouting at his drummer the entire time. That's what I've grasped from it, and he's very strict. So as soon as he said that, that's what popped into my mind. Gap for the peloton to the breakaway is now sitting about 30 seconds. I did Bax and Ortruba catch up to Leknessem? Yes, they did. So we do have a group of four, and they go to a break. But I did see in the distance there, they showed the front of the or the breakaway, and in the distance you could see the peloton. But Little Trek were still at the front. Little Brothers, 3-time world champion, fair enough. Well, if you get a chance, watch that Whiplash film, and you will understand why I thought of why I thought of it when you did say that. Oh. I should have just started this a bit earlier. I think 80 kilometers out for the Flèche Wallonne. I think I've learned my lesson for it. I think next year's Flèche Wallonne live stream, I may start the stream for maybe 5 kilometers out. I think that's a bit appropriate. Because to be quite honest, this race has been quite a drag. So it has. Not a lot has happened. And the amount of ads as well. Every time I look down to do something, there's an ad on the screen. The finish of this race better be something good, or else I'm going to be fuming. Because there's no way you do nothing all race for the final 1 kilometer and for it to be awful. Yeah, you definitely have a way with words, Cat. Chat has been it has been quite entertaining just reading it in the corner of my eye. Cat was going a bit. Ugh. If you are just joining, I'm currently at an ad break, so I don't know what's going on in the race. There is currently an ad on my screen. I think we're coming back now. Yes, we are. Peter Sagan is on his whoosh bike, so we're finally back. And the camera's on the breakaway. 4 riders in the breakaway. So Bax and Ortruba did make it back to Leknessem and Vanderlei. 24.4 kilometers to go. I'll change that to 20. That's 35. Change it to 25. What? The favourites, so the PCS are showing the favourites for the game that they run, and Paul Sexas is the favourite by 5,000 points, so he's in 7,500. Second place is Scalmos at 2,200 or 2,300, and then Lenny Martinez is third favourite at 2,700 or 2,074. Sorry. So that's the top three favourites. They're about to hit. Oh no, I thought they were about to hit it. Is it what? Yeah, sorry, they are about to hit it. So there's no way this is. I suppose. Right, hold on. I've got a lot going on in my head here. So they're about to hit the Côte d'Effrey. 3 kilometers to the hit it, and then this year off the Flèche Wallonne is going to be. It's currently sat second fastest ever. And there's no 2004 is the fastest. 2008 is third fastest, 23 fourth, and 1985 in fifth. Where was last year's race? 14th. Oh dear. Well, I mean they're not separated by much. Like from first to 20th, they're separated by 3 miles per hour or 3 kilometers an hour. But the pace is picking up here in the peloton as they do come down towards the Côte d'Effrey. The gap is 31 seconds. NSN are looking quite visible here at the front. I say that and they just move. Q36 just moves in front of them. But Quickstep here are appearing on the right hand side with 4 riders. Where did UAE go? Because they were on the right hand side for quite some time. Decathlon are also moving to the front. Alpecin as well. A lot of teams are trying to fight for position here. But here comes Little Trek and Visma straight up the middle. Cofidis, it's the first sighting of Cofidis I've seen. The gap is dropping. It's sitting about 26 seconds, 27 seconds. Lotto Intermarché are fighting for the front here. Bahrain are also fighting for the front. So there is a lot of this descent down to the Effrey there, or to the Côte d'Effrey. Bahrain now take up front spot at the peloton with 3 riders. One of the main one being Mohoric. I think Lenny is sat in third wheel. But who is that for Lotto Intermarché? Zimmerman, I believe. German champ, is it? Yeah, it is. Zimmerman, he was the one for Lotto Intermarché, I think, trying to find a bit of position for Van Etveld. Controversial question. How do you feel about Pogacar? Controversial indeed. No, I don't mind him. I think it is. I think it's good for the sport and not good for the sport. Oh, massive crash. Massive crash. Visma rider down. Ineos rider down. Shooter rider down. Picnic Post 2 riders down. Caja Real rider down. Who is that for Ineos? Mark Hirschi for Tudor is the rider to hit the deck. Number 5. Anton Schiffer from Visma hits the deck. But who is this for Ineos? 16. Riviera. So Obviously awful to see them crash, but Ineos will have a sigh of relief that it isn't any of their main guys. So where was it? It's boring that he wins 90% of the races, but I'm awed to live in his time. Yeah, well said. Well said, Shelley. He's quite a good bike rider. And he does make the races both. Yeah, he makes it boring when if Pogacar goes off on his own, you go, what's the point in even watching? But in the case of Paris-Roubaix and Milan-San Remo, when he has someone with him, you're going, oh shit, Pogacar has a chance to get beat here, and someone like Pidcock or Wout van Aert, you're going, right, this is going to look good. And in both of those races, they were very, very exciting in the end. You know, Pogacar won Milan-San Remo, but didn't win Paris-Roubaix. So when he is in a race that is close, he just adds that extra bit more excitement, because at the end of the day, it is Pogacar. But when he does go off on his own, you're like, oh, this is boring. Cat's looking to throw hands. Oh, what is going on here? Number 15, Axel Laurence is running up the road. Flashbacks of Chris Froome here as Axel Laurence is jogging up the road. What is that? Why is he running? Yeah, I was able to live with the fact that he could. He was the GC guy, and then Milan San Remo. But see, when he started going into the cobble races, I thought, you're taking a piss now. Like, leave something for everyone else. The only thing he doesn't have is a pure sprint against other sprinters. That's the only thing he doesn't have. But against other riders in a pure sprint, he would beat quite a lot of them. And about your comment, Johnny, just on the year he was like burst onto the scene, beating Roglic. I remember looking back on it now. I looking back on it now, I hate myself for doing it. I remember sitting cheering on Pogacar to win it as well, because I didn't like Visma because they were really dominant that year in that Tour de France. They were just really dominant, and I thought, oh, come on, cheer for the underdog. Come on, Pogacar, come on. Looking back now, I'm like, oh, why did you even cheer for him? Another crash, oh dear. A lot of crashes. EF Education rider down. Unibet Rose Rockets rider looked to be down as well. And a Astana rider is down. Who is who though? And a Tudor rider. They all seem to have been tangled up on each other. Unibet Rose Rocket rider is limping though. Who is it? 6 for Tudor. That is Janus Vossard of Tudor. Who is it for Astana though? Is it any of their main guys? 18.6k to go now, and it is all starting to kick off, which is good. Leknessem now has dropped all the other breakaway riders as he goes off on his own. 29 seconds up the road on the peloton. Camera is currently sat on Kevin Vauquelin, who looks to be towards the back of the peloton, so I don't know if he got caught up in one of the crashes. Obviously not going down, but got into a bit of traffic. But Dorian Goudon is in front of him, trying to bring him up into the middle of the peloton and hopefully towards the front. I guess the only good thing about Pogacar this year is he's only rode like 4 races, so it does give everyone else a chance in the other races, seeing he's only riding 4. suppose that's one way to look at it. And then when he does ride, there's a lot of eyes on him. He's sort of becoming like scarce this season, as he's like he's picking and choosing what he wants to ride, and we hardly get to see him as well. And when we do see him, he does perform and surpass all expectations. But 17 kilometers to go here. Let me see if there are any time gaps up. Oh, whoa. I wasn't on the... Whoa. Right, so Tim Wellens has abandoned the race. That crash that did involve Voissard of Tudor also included Lucy of Astana, James Shaw of AF Education, and Clement Venturi of Unibet Rose Rockets. Mark Hirschi has also abandoned the race. So that's his set. He crashed in the Amstel Gold race as well, and he's also crashed again today. So that is not good for him. I don't think he has had the... He's only rode one-day races this season, and his highest position was 7th in the Figueira Champions Classic. So it is... he abandoned the Fon Ardèche, the Trofeo Calvi, the Amstel Gold, and the Flèche Wallonne. So it hasn't been a good season for Mark Hirschi. Bax and Van der Lee, the two other riders that were in the breakaway, they are about to get caught here by the peloton. So they are, I'd say, maybe about 5-10 seconds between them and the peloton, and then a gap of 34 seconds from the peloton to the front of the race. But three Groupama FDJ United riders out the front here of the peloton. Are they gapping the peloton though? They have created a small gap that has been closed down now by a rider from Visma Lease Bike. But they hit that corner perfectly there and did create a gap. I love Mark Cavendish. He was like... I loved him growing up as a kid. I thought he was brilliant. But that year, the year Cavendish came back to the Tour de France with Quick Step and won, I think it was like 4 stages. I thought, I couldn't believe what was happening. But Van der Lee and Bax are now being caught by the peloton here, and Leknessem is still up the road on his own. Little Trek have moved towards the front of the peloton now alongside Groupama FDJ United. Visma Lease Bike are a bit back, not towards the front as much, but it is Groupama FDJ and Little Trek that are doing the majority of the work. I think they're onto the Côte de Charav now. Are they? Where are they? Whoa. Oh no, they're just on a smallish climb after the Côte de Effray, and then they will hit the descent down to the Côte de Charav. But yeah, I do think once Pogačar does end up retiring, and then we go into the season after he retires, and then we just see the difference in class from whoever it is taking over from him, if it is Paul Sexas or not. But then you will look back and you go, Pogačar was some rider like. And I think the first Tour de France without Pogačar, I think there will be everyone will go, Pogačar's not riding it, we're going to see someone different ride it or win it. And I think that'll be what it's like for the first. And then I think the second Tour de France, I think people will go, right, I think we're missing. I think a lot of people will start to miss him on the second Tour de France. But Leknessem here still out on his own. This has been some ride from the Uno X rider, the Norwegian champion. He is 26 seconds up the road on the peloton. 13.7k to go now. So it is not long now until this race is over, and I must say it has been a very boring one for myself. Although the final, or the last 10 kilometers there, it has picked up in excitement there quite a bit. Obviously the final lap and everyone's, sort of getting in position, but this I don't think I will, like I said, I don't think I'll be watching the Flèche Wallonne from 80 kilometers out on live again. I think it'll be 40 or 50 kilometers next year. But they've got 7 kilometers now to the foot of the Côte de Chirave. So, Côte de Chirave, 7 kilometers to the foot. It's 1 kilometer, 8 kilometers. 8 kilometers off that. So they finished the Côte de Chirave with about 3 kilometers to go, and then it's the Mur de Huy. There's a rider from Tudor here dropping off the back of the peloton. Who is that? Fabien Weiss. Is that how you pronounce it? What? What's wrong with this website? Can't wait for the final to call the winner of the chat. Didn't know we were doing awards for the chat. Leknessem here doing 50 kilometers an hour on his own. Decathlon now have moved to the front here. Decathlon moved to the front of the peloton with 3 riders. Sexas is sat in second wheel. So it looks like Decathlon are trying to close this down and shut up shop fairly quickly here before the Côte de Chirave, where I do expect Paul said, I don't know if he will attack on it or not. Sort of. Let me have a look at the poll here. So 58% believes Sexas is going to win it, 11% Vaclin, 18% Skelmos, or 18% other, and 13% Skelmoses. So that's what the poll is currently sitting at. Greg LeMond lived in the same town. Some riders roll the road with him. Fair enough. They've a good eye for the sport then. Teams should be signing them for scouting positions. Groupama now are moving towards the front, so we are getting a lot of teams here moving towards the front here for the Côte de Chirave, which we did see on the last lap as well, but Decathlon are here this time. But this is, I hope Sexas doesn't. It's actually got to the point now where I'm putting Sexas in the Pogacar category for when Pogacar's not here, because I was going to say I hope Paul Sexas doesn't do what Pogacar did last year. I hope the battle for the win of this is fairly tight. But on the left-hand side of the road, we've got two Uno X riders and 2 Little Trek riders. And then on the right-hand side of the road, we've got a big mix of a lot of teams. 4 Decathlon riders, 4 Groupama riders. I see Dorian Gudon is in there as well. 2 Visma riders, rider from NSN. Is there any other? I see I see Kevin Vaclin. He's in amongst there, just about 5 or 6 riders back from the front. Wonder if Axel Laurent's got a bike change or if he's still running there. I didn't see any updates on it. 17 seconds up the road, Leknessem is. Right, so he's got about one. Leknessund has about 1 kilometre until the Côte de Chirave, and the Côte de Chirave is 1.4 kilometres long, has an average of 7.6%. The steepest section of it is about between 600 metres into the climb and 1 kilometre into the climb. There's an average gradient of 10%, so that is where it is going to kick up. Jayco have now moved to the front of the peloton here as well. 8.1 kilometres. I should change that actually. 8.1 still. It seems like there's still a lot to go. For some reason, I keep thinking Chirave is, once I complete the Chirave, there's still 15k. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but. So this year has now overtaken 2004's edition and become the fastest edition of the Flèche Wallonne. And it certainly has been, because they have been going fairly quickly, and thankfully so. The gap now for Leknessund to the peloton is 6 seconds. But they've got a helicopter view here, but I can't see who's who because of the shade. Jayco, the two riders at the front. Leknessund here is about to get caught as he does hit the foot of the Côte de Chirave. 7.2k to go. He takes his hand off the handlebar, has a drink of water, and he sits up. Well, no, I thought he was sitting up there. He's got a bend to do here, but I think it is his race over. So exactly 7 kilometres to go off La Flèche Wallonne, and Andreas Leknessund, who has been superb in the breakaway today, is about to be caught by the peloton, being led out the front by, is that NSN? Or who is that? I can't tell. Helicopter view again. Rider from Jumbo Visma looks to be attacking off the front. Who is that? An acceleration. Who is it? I can't tell, but there's an acceleration on the right hand side off the road by a Visma Lease bike rider. Quickly shot down by a rider from Little Trek though, as he does sit up. Who was it? Filippo Fiorelli is apparently who it was according to PCS, but you can see all the riders now who have done their job to get the peloton to the foot of the Côte de Chirave are now all dropping off the back of the peloton. Either that or they were just struggling to hang on in the first place. That is Anton Sharmig of Uno X. He is dropping off the back now as well. Rider, who's that for? I thought that was Scaroni for some reason. What is Scaroni's number 4? Champousson number 1. But Decathlon here on the Chirave are still on the left hand side of the road in fourth position. They've got 4 riders, so they do. How far to go? There is 6.4 kilometres left. They've got 750 metres to the top of the Chirave, and then it is a descent down. Nordhagen has been dropped by the peloton. So, Bobby, if you're still in here, that is unfortunate news for yourself. Bakamolama and Leknessund have also dropped from the peloton. But it looks like it is down to Tullet of Visma to get a result here for Visma. Valentin Paripantry of Quickstep is dropping out. That is a surprise for me. I didn't expect that now. Imagine a 3-up sprint before Remco Sexas and Pog for Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Yeah, that would be a dream scenario. But Pogacar going solo, yeah. Agreed. I do have a prediction for Liège, but I'm gonna save it. So I am. Bobby has changed his allegiance to Skelmoza. EF Education now moved to the front of the peloton with 1 rider. They've got 2 riders sitting beside the other decathlon riders, but obviously working for Alex Bodin. There's still a rider from UAE here. He's been at the front for quite some time, but the rest of his team isn't there, as Red Bull are now moving to the front with 2 riders as they hit the top of the Côte de Chirave now. The best looking team at the moment is Decathlon, as they still have 4 riders. I see Barry and Victorious now. They're currently sat about the middle of the peloton. But we've currently got 5.5 kilometers to go. Your breakfast has been more exciting. Right, 5.2k to go. They're on the descent off the Côte de Chirave down to the flat section just before the Mur de Huy, which is probably my favourite climb to say in all of cycling. The Mur de Huy, I think, is brilliant. Rooting for Hindley, Scalmoza and Tullett. Oh, not a bad selection of riders to be rooting for. Jan Tratnik has that is the rider for Red Bull here. It looks to be pulling looks to be doing the work for Jai Hindley. So after that climb on the descent now, I would say Paul Sexas is looking most comfortable to win this race. But I'm still holding out for my prediction, which is Lenny Martinez. I'm still going to hold out for him. I think the power of that mustache is gonna be enough to bring him to the finish line first. And was that him or was that someone else? I remember there was a flat, but yeah, it was Tratnik who did have that flat. Yeah, I was seeing if there was someone else from Slovenia. But no, he's only Slovenian for Red Bull. But he does move to the front of the peloton now. Is that AF Education rider still at the front? Or is it now is it all been put on the shoulders of Jan Tratnik with Hindley in his wheel? 3.5 kilometers to go. Too much drag on. He has Jan Tratnik. Squeaky ass chair. I can't get this chair sitting right. So they're showing the final 3 kilometers and that final 1 kilometer. The final 600 meters of this race is, I'll do it in 200 increments. So 600 to 400 is 12%, 4 to 2 is 15, and 2 to 0 is 13. So that is the percentages we were looking at for the Mur de Huy, as Bahrain now are moving up to the front of the peloton from the middle. NSN have also moved to the front. Who do NSN have? Why are NSN? George Bennett, Marco Frigo as well, Brady Gilmore. Don't know who's who though. 2.5 kilometers to go off the 90th edition of the Flèche Wallonne. It's my chair. I can 100% confirm that it is my chair. So we've got AF Education with 2 riders on the left hand side. Just to the right of them is the 2 Red Bull riders, Tratnik and Hindley. To the right of those is 4 Bahrain riders. Decathlon have sort of moved back a bit. On the far left hand side of the road, looking at it head on, are Groupama FDJ, obviously looking to get a good position for Gregoire. I hope Gregoire does actually win this. I would love to see him win it. I think it would be an unreal result. 1.8k to go. Groupama, Red Bull and AF Education are the 3 teams leading us on to the Mur de Huy here. Now the Mur de Huy is 1.4 kilometers long and has an average of 9.1%. But I will change it to 1 kilometer, but it is 1.6, 200 meters to the start of the Mur de Huy. There's a rider for Groupama breaking off the front. He's got about, the gap is growing here, but I don't think he's going to get far. I don't know who it is as well. I would love to know who it is. Still don't know, but Jan Tratnik is at the front of the peloton with, I am going to assume, Gregoire on his wheel. Jai Hindley on the wheel of Gregoire. There's still 2 AF Education riders. Decathlon are on the right-hand side, a bit far back, trying to get a good position for Sexas. Barrier at the front. I see Lenny Martinez there. But NSN are also at the front. Costu is the rider for Groupama who did do that attack. But 1 kilometre to go now. Oh. Labrosse from Decathlon does an attack off the front, as well as Christus Nealons of NSN, but they are now under the steeper section and the start of the... Here we go, look at this. This is the wall here. Paul Sexas is right at the front here on the wheel of, it seems to be Lenny Martinez, is it? No, it's Peo Bilbao. Lenny Martinez is on the wheel of Peo Bilbao. Christian Scaroni is there as well, but Sexas is at the front leading them on. I think that is Ben Tullett as well for Visma. Yeah, it is. Ben Tullett is at the front. There's a rider from Caja Real there as well. So Gregoire, Cosnefroid, Lenny Martinez, Peo Bilbao, Jai Hindley, Christian Scaroni, Paul Sexas, all here at the front. The only one with a teammate, I would say, is Lenny Martinez and Peo Bilbao, but everyone else seems to be on there. There's the two Cofidis riders, I think, is going to be Ian Izagiri and Aaron Baru. 600 metres to go. Who is going to launch first here? Mauro Schmidt is here as well. We've got 3 at the front. Caja Real, Ben Tullett and Paul Sexas. 4 in behind. Cosnefroid, Roman Gregoire, Lenny Martinez and Mauro Schmidt. The rider from Caja Real now moves. He's way out the back. But 2 riders straight at the front. Ben Tullett and Paul Sexas. They're now onto that corner section where Pogacar attacked last year. No one else is yet to attack first though. Mauro Schmidt now launches on the right-hand side. He's out of the saddle. Ben Tullett in the middle. Paul Sexas now on the left-hand side gets out of the saddle and launches. Cosnefroid in his wheel. But Ben Tullett is still there side-by-side with Sexas. There's a rider from Quickstep there. I'm not actually quite sure who it is though. But they've got a really bad camera angle here. I think it's Filippo Zana off Quickstep. As Paul Sexas now out of the saddle. Ben Tullett still on it. Ben Tullett still hasn't launched yet. He could win this. As you know, Paul Sexas now launches. Ben Tullett on his wheel. Will he be able to come round him? But Cosnefroid is sat in third. Mauro Schmidt in fourth. Ben Tullett is looking really, really good here on the wheel of Paul Sexas. But Sexas is leading them up the front here off the Mur de Huy. Ben Tullett seems to be coming on the right-hand side of Paul Sexas as he now launches. No, he doesn't. Paul Sexas still at the front as he's now gapping Ben Tullett as Paul Sexas looks to go on the win here at the Mur de Huy on La Flèche Wallonne. Is it going to be? Is it going to be? Is anyone else going to be able to catch up to him? The gap is still, the gap is getting bigger. It looks like Paul Sexas, the Frenchman, the 19-year-old, is going to win the Flèche Wallonne with Ben Tullett, Cosnefroid and Mauro Schmidt all battling for second place. As Paul Sexas crosses the line, hands in the air. Mauro Schmidt gets second. Ben Tullett gets fourth with Cosnefroid in third. Skelmoza gets fifth. Bodin in sixth. And then Lenny Martinez shakes the head. But all the favourites seem to be there in the top 10. Watchalong, I completely forgot about Watchalong. Completely forgot about him. Oh, what a performance from Paul Sexas. That was some effort from him. And just another... What a race to win as well. Like Paul Sexas has just won La Flèche Wallonne. And he's just won it with ease. Well, it seemed to be ease. So that look at that for seasons. We got first at Fawn Ardèche, second at Strada. He won the Etsulia Basque Country with 3 stages. And he's just won the Flèche Wallonne. What? Yeah, his chair doesn't crack. Yeah. See you Sunday, Steve. I'm gonna wait for the top 10 as always, but it didn't disappoint that the final of that climb went. Obviously, last year Tadej Pogacar attacked a lot sooner, so it was over a lot quicker. But this one here, Ben Tullett looked unreal. I thought he looked very, very good in it. Mauro Schmidt gets second. Ben Tullett gets third. I thought Cosnefroid beat him on the line there, but Ben Tullett does get third. Got the helicopter camera here showing some seals. Cosnefroy in 4th. I'm going to wait for the top 10 to update. But what a talent. Could Sexas be the man that stops Pogacar winning 6 tours? That is a big question. And if he keeps this up, I don't see why not. I looking at it now, I can definitely see them sending him to the Tour de France with the performances at the moment. Like, here we go, top 10. So Paul Sexas gets first, Mauro Schmidt finishes in 2nd, Ben Tulla comes 3rd, Cosnefroy in 4th, Skelmoza in 5th, Alex Bodin in 6th, Ian Izagiri in 7th, Lenny Martinez in 8th, Roman Gregoire in 9th, Andreas Kron in 10th, Christian Scaroni 11th, Filippo Zana 12th, and Kevin Vackel in 13th. So there's the top 13 for you. There's sort of forgot myself and just continued on. But what a race. At top 13 is all who I would have expected to be in it. I'm trying to think if there was anyone missing. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone that is missing in that. But easy win by Paul, but he definitely does not have the best acceleration. Paul should be able to drop him. Yeah, we will have to see. Paul waited on the good part to go too smart. He's quite young still, might need some more big battles under his belt. Great stream again. Sexas is amazing for his age. See you Sunday, Ian. I think Pogacar gets his 5th this year by 2027. Sexas can hang with Jonas and Pogacar on the hills and is possibly a better time trial. I think Pogacar is the one who can overcome adversity with high order consistency. Oh, that is it. The discussions are going to, especially after that, Sunday looks like it's going to be a good one, put it that way. Sexas, Evenepoel and Pogacar. I think nice to chat to everyone. Thanks for the streamers. I'm off the bed, need to sleep. All the best, Shelly. Indeed, super stream on. Yes, apologies if I was a bit quiet throughout it. It was just not a lot going on in the race, but I will end it there, and I will be back on Sunday for Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Look out for my Tour de Romandie preview that is coming out. I'm going to have it up tonight, and then the Liège-Bastogne-Liège preview should be out tomorrow, so keep an eye out for them. If you did enjoy, don't forget to subscribe. I hit 350 subscribers there as well, which is very good. Thanks a lot, and don't forget to like the video as well. But yes, thanks for joining me for the 90th edition of the Flèche Wallonne, where Paul Sexas he's done it again, so he has. But thank you for watching the Final K, and all the best.